What does CASCAIDr think about the pressure that the Human Rights Commission brought to bear on the clinical commissioning groups who've been developing policies for putting people in care homes if it was cheaper than keeping them at home?
Well, we weren't surprised when the CCGs fell on their swords and gave up, because our advice has been always that any such blanket, rigid policies were unlawful, easy peasy, not even, an interesting legal question. And the reason is this: if you say of your population that you will always put people in care homes when it is cheaper than looking after them at home, you're effectively asserting that there's not a single person in the whole area who could not be said to be able to thrive in a care home. And that's patently unjustifiable and not even likely to be halfway true for a minute. There will always be, for instance, a young mother who's terminally ill with dying children. Nobody is going to put her in a care home. There will always be a brain-injured person who can cope in his own home, but if you put him in a care home with other distressed people, will be set off and then upset everybody else as well. So in terms of professional judgment, if it still exists in social work, there is a concept of the kind of a person who needs to be in their own home, who isn't just reluctant to go to a care home, but who could not appropriately be cared for in a care home. And therefore, a council or a CCG can't start out with telling its social workers that they are all to conclude that everybody can be cared for in a care home. So once you get rid of a blanket policy, you get the possibility that a council or a CCG could apply the policy of taking the cheaper of two, quote, adequate means of meeting need and offer a care home, but it can't be done without really conscientious balancing of the human rights of the person, properly understood, whether they're conscious of where they are, what it means to them to have their carer with them. Some people may be glad to go to a care home after 50 years of being married to somebody, but not everybody. So what I'm pointing out is that it was never going to be lawful for the NHS to have that kind of a blanket policy. What worries me is that we must be approaching the time soon when a council will say to someone, bring it on, challenge us for deciding that in your particular case, it's not inappropriate of us to have offered the care home. It's all public money. So CASCAIDr wants a case where the difference between the cost of a care home and the cost of care at home is not very much. We wouldn't risk litigating that very important moot point that's never been clarified. We wouldn't want to risk it in a case where the gap on the money side was massive, because it's not unexpected that a judge would feel sorry for the council and realise that it had very difficult decisions to make and then allow that to happen. So that's the kind of test case that CASCAIDr would look for. I think the moral for public bodies with cost capping is that they have to have these conversations very carefully indeed, so that they are not misunderstood. And it's definitely not the work of a junior member of staff who hasn't got any legal literacy awareness. It's a difficult conversation to have, for which the staff need to be trained. And I think in terms of older people, older incapacitated people who do get shoved off to care homes, it's a real shame that it's kind of assumed even by decent social workers that that's all right for older people, but not all right for younger people. That is in effect discriminatory on the basis of age. It's treating younger people as deserving of a life in the community, whereas older people still get a life in a community, but in a closed community. But that just is our culture. And of course, judicial review only works to challenge choke-worthy decisions that would make the judge really cough and spit. And if the culture of the whole country is that care homes are really where older people go, then you're not going to win a judicial review in an older person's case.